Well, would you look at this, eh? Would you look at this? A transfer. As I live and breathe, a transfer. We have a signing. Yes, come on, let's go. Welcome back to United View. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Oh, it's all going off today, isn't it? Absolutely. Here we go. Marcel Sabitzer to Manchester United. Here we go with the punches. Come on. Flex is trying to call me. I don't know why. I'm live. Oh, look at this. Here we go. Yes, Manchester United. We've got a replacement for Christian Eriksen with the injury. Look, it's funny how things work out, isn't it? This morning we were saying, you know what? I've got to give credit to DJ. He said 20% this morning. I laughed at him. You know, we all laughed at him. Who's laughing now? That's the real question because, hey, he was right. 20% crew. He's in the chat right now and he's right to. Yes, Marcel Sabitzer to Manchester United. Here we go. It's been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. Of course, we are still waiting on an official announcement from the club itself, from the club. He loves the club. But Romano has just tweeted in the last few minutes or so saying, Marcel Sabitzer to Manchester United. Here we go. Full agreement reached on a loan deal from Bayern Munich. But this is the key thing because there's been quite a lot of conflicting information about this on social media in the last couple of hours, or really ever since the interest in Sabitzer was registered as to was this going to be a permanent deal? Was it going to be a loan deal? If there was a loan deal, was there going to be a mandatory situation where we had to buy him at the end of it? Was there going to be an option to buy? There is no buy option, just a straight loan, is what Romano is saying. The deal is set to be signed with Bayern Munich in the final hours as personal terms have been agreed to. I don't even know what words I merged together there. It's been a long day. Personal terms agreed to, and I believe he's actually in Manchester as we speak. It's one of those weird situations now where people are looking at airplanes and flights that are landing in Manchester. He might have already landed in Manchester. There was a video this afternoon / this evening of him leaving Munich or going into Munich airport, boarding that flight to go to Manchester. He was asked, are you going to Manchester United? And you say, you have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. It could be a surprise. It's not much of a surprise. Marcel Sabitzer will be a Manchester United player, and it's exactly what we need. And you know what? I think that there was a lot of judgment on Manchester United. There was a lot of judgment on the powers that be at United. And I'm not praising the Glazers because, gross. But more so of, there was this expectation that when Eriksen got injured, we were just going to sit around and not do anything. And maybe I was part of that. I don't know. I'll hold my hands up. But where credit is due, you know, you would have to say, look, Manchester United, they are showing some ambition here. They do want to make sure their season doesn't crumble. Yes, it shouldn't have got to a point where Christian Eriksen had to get injured for Manchester United to do anything. Yes, the hand was well and truly forced here, but in fairness, for the prognosis of Eriksen's injury to come out at 12 o'clock? And then by 7 o'clock, it's like we're getting Sabitzer in on loan. That ain't bad going. That ain't bad going from Manchester United, especially given the track record. And I think that does show ambition. I think it does show, you know, that if we'd have done nothing, then you could have absolutely said, well, you haven't backed your manager there. You know, you're in a really good position, better than you thought you were going to be in, right? You're competing for the top four rivals like your Liverpool, like your Chelsea. They're kind of out of the picture, but you don't know what they're going to do second half of the season, particularly Chelsea. Cup competitions, you're practically in the final of the Carabao Cup, FA Cup. You've got some really good draws, and again, big teams are out of it. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, they're all out. You've got real opportunities to win silverware and achieve things this season, which Manchester United haven't been achieving. And given an injury, a long-term injury to a player akin to a Christian Eriksen, it could have been disastrous. You know, if we'd have got nobody in, yes, we've got Fred to partner Casemiro, but at the same time, what happens if Casemiro gets hurt? What happens if, you know, suspension? We've got so many games. Plus, on top of that, I think McTominay's not even available. And really, we don't want to be, you know, Eriksen coming out and McTominay coming in. That's not really at the level we want. And that's not to say that Sabitzer is at the level of Christian Eriksen. But as situations go, as replacements go, or certainly people to come and go, that ain't bad. That isn't bad. Now, I'm really interested to see what you guys think as well. Because I've seen a lot of opinions on this on social media. First of all, MXG with the super chat, and be sure to get your chats in as well, get them up on the screen, says, rejected Chelsea. There was a situation, wasn't there, with that I did see, because Chelsea reportedly were in for him, right? Chelsea reportedly were in for Sabitzer. United and Chelsea were the first two teams to sort of declare their interest, shall we say, in him. And by all accounts, it was... One, he preferred to go to United. He had no interest in really going to Chelsea. But at the same time, Chelsea are just... I mean, that Enzo Fernandez thing looks like it's going to happen, which is, to me, crazy. Like... It's absolutely insane, the fact that Enzo Fernandez thing is going to happen, seemingly. But nevertheless, again, it's a good signing for Manchester United, and I'm really happy with the business to be done. I mean, make no mistake, I know there have been, rumours about possibly us doing more business or what have you. I don't think that's going to happen now. I mean, I think it was reported by Dharma Chef. I'll try and find it here. That basically that this is going to most likely be the only signing that we do in this window. And again, that came out of nowhere, didn't it, really? So yeah, Dharma Chef said Marcel Sabitzer is set to be the only arrival at Manchester United today. Simon Stone from the BBC also reporting that Erik ten Hag was not prepared to risk progress of his team through lack of numbers in the squad and moved quickly. Now, he's not the only player, Sabitzer, that we have been linked to today. There have actually been quite a few players. Isco, who seemingly we thought had gone to Union Berlin. We spoke about this, DJ and myself, this morning on the Transfer View, that there was a here we go. There was a here we go of Isco to Union Berlin last night from Fabrizio Romano. And actually, Union Berlin came out earlier today and said, despite reports, whilst we'd have loved to have made Isco an Union Berlin player, basically they can't afford him. They can't afford the package of that deal, so it's not happening. And Isco was a player, according to Dharma Chef, that was offered to Manchester United today. Other names, Husim. How do you pronounce this? Is it Awar? A-O-U-A-R. If someone can type that in phonetically into the chat, that would be tremendous. And Yannick Carrasco were also offered to United today. And it does give a bit of an indicator as to how these deals work on deadline day. If you think that the deals come out of nowhere, they kind of do, because what happens is clubs get desperate, agents do their job, agents, they ring around, and they say, hey, I've got this player here, he would be available, do you want him? The clubs have a conversation to themselves and go, we're a bit light on the ground. Well, what should we do? And they say yes and they say no. And especially when an agent sees that a club's vulnerable or a club is in need of getting someone in quickly, because it's funny just how the day works out, isn't it? Because at 12 o'clock, once that Eriksen news came out, we had the press conference. And looking back on the press conference, it takes a completely different tone now, because Erik ten Hag in the press conference was almost quite non-committal and quite, I want to say resigned, but he was just going, look, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to get players in, especially deadline day, when you have a player that goes down right before the end of the transfer window. Eriksen's difficult to replace anyway, but it's just difficult. I don't know. And then by the end of the press conference, all of these reports came out basically saying that United were ringing around all of these top clubs. They were ringing around to people in Spain and clubs in France, PSG, the Madrids, all this kind of stuff, Germany, Bayern Munich, to see if they had any midfielders that they'd be willing to let go on a loan deal in January. And by all accounts, it was actually Ryan Gravenberch that Manchester United wanted. Obviously, Erik ten Hag has the relationship with him from Ajax. He hasn't played a ton of games at Bayern Munich. And Bayern said, well, no, we don't really want to let him go, but Sabitzer, if you want him, you can have him. And United went, you know what? Yeah. We'll take Sabitzer. And it's an interesting one too, because he was a player that when he was at Leipzig, he was a player that was quite sought after across Europe. Clubs wanted him, just because. And this is the thing. I saw Paul Merson on Sky Sports News, and I know Paul Merson, what's he going to say? Something negative about Manchester United is the answer, as is what he's going to say. And he was saying, first of all, he went, it's a pure panic buy. It's a panic buy. If he was playing for Bayern Munich, he wouldn't be going to Manchester United. Well, duh. Obviously. If he was playing every single week for Bayern Munich, how on earth would Manchester United sign him on loan on the last day of the January transfer window? Because that's how it works. Of course, that's not going to. Of course, he's not playing that often for Bayern Munich. But also, I saw as well, and I will double check this now because I'm a man of facts. Let's have a look. Sabitzer appearances 22 to 23, because I saw something that was saying that basically he'd played like 24 games or something for Bayern Munich this season, and I want to check it's accurate. There you go. In all competitions, in the Bundesliga, in the Champions League, in the DFB Pokal, in the DFL Super Cup, combined 24 appearances for Bayern Munich this season. That sounds like a player, to be honest, that's getting quite a bit of game time. Right? That doesn't sound like a player that was completely froze out. And if I check that, let me check something else. Let me top this up with some other stats, because I just want to do an apt comparison this season. Right. Okay, this is my comparison here. So Paul Merson can go on Sky Sports News and say, Jorginho, brilliant signing for Arsenal. They've signed him from Chelsea. Jorginho, that's a really underrated bit of business, that. Oh, great bit of business. Great bit of business. Oh, I tell you what, it's genius by Arteta. Jorginho has played 25 games this season for Chelsea. 25. That's how many he's played this season. 18 in the Premier League, 6 in the Champions League, 1 in the FA Cup. In comparison, Marcel Sabitzer, he's played 1 game less. 24, 15 in the Bundesliga, 6 in the Champions League, 2 in the DFB Pokal, 1 in the DFL Super Cup. Now, what's the difference? What's the difference there? The difference is there is a pundit there that does not want to see Manchester United succeed. That's the difference right there. And you talk about shrewd business and good business. I'll take a guy that has played nearly 25 games for Bayern Munich this season. Yeah, he's not the first choice, because if he was the first choice, we wouldn't be able to get him. They've got a really good midfield, Kimmich, etc. But Sabitzer, I think, in terms of what is available, and we were talking about desperation, weren't we? We were talking about real desperation earlier on today. The problem is, who's even available? Who could Manchester United get? I saw some people say Dele Alli. You know, and the worst thing is people were considering it because we were that desperate. We need someone in. We need a body. In terms of the bodies that were available, this ain't half bad. And again, even with players that you could say, well, he's sitting on the bench most weeks, a lot of signings that are thriving in the Premier League might have been sitting elsewhere on the bench or not even getting in the squad. Does Odegaard come to mind? He does. Now, I'm not going to say Sabitzer's going to be Odegaard, but at the same time, let's use the same level of barometers when we judge certain players. Who's to say that he can't come to Manchester United and he can't contribute? I think he can. Of course he can. He's a good player. He got to move to Bayern Munich for a reason. He's still young as well. Erik ten Hag knows the Netherlands and Germany very well. Of course, he previously coached at Bayern Munich when Pep Guardiola was there. So he's familiar with the surroundings. I'm sure he's got people at the club. I'm sure he keeps an eye out. Ten Hag's a details guy. Ten Hag doesn't take risks when it comes to bringing players in. The guy's meticulous. Absolutely meticulous. And again, I think in terms of replacement signings, it's near enough. It's not as good as you can get on the last day of deadline day, I think. Especially considering what United usually do, which is nothing. Which is nothing. Now, there isn't a buy option. There isn't a mandatory or obligation to buy or even an option to buy, which, is somewhat frustrating. I saw a lot of people saying that, maybe it would have been better if we could have got a buy option. It just looks really apparent that even if that option would have been in for the summer, United just aren't keen on doing anything that resembles even the possibility of a permanent transfer. United just aren't interested. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't know if that's got anything to do with the takeover. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's because, financially we got no money. I did see something like Barcelona on one of the deals they did today. I forget who it was. It might have been Amrabat. Has that deal gone through? But I saw Romano tweet something to the extent of they couldn't even include a mandatory option because it would break FFP. That's how much of on a knife edge that Barcelona is. And maybe United are in a similar situation, whereby it's a case of we can't even suggest that we could do a mandatory obligation to buy because it would break FFP. I don't know. That's me speculating, but that could be part of it too. Nevertheless, again, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this evening, and it's way more than I thought we were going to get. I don't think we should get greedy. I've seen people going, right, one down, let's get another. Manchester United, it's still Man United. Their hand's got to be forced, and it absolutely was today. So, again, I'm happy with it. We'll get some of your comments up on the screen as well. I think it's true as well. I've seen a lot of people saying another Marcel involved at United View. It's very true. Game Fanatic with the super chat here. It says, I like him and the signing, but Owen, since joining Bayern last season, he's only played a full 90 minutes in the league 3 times. One of them at left back. Well, that's probably why we're getting him, to be honest. I mean, this is the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with what Paul Merson said about, well, you wouldn't be getting him if he was playing every single week at Bayern Munich. Of course we wouldn't. Like, again, that's how football works. It has to be a certain situation for a player to be available on the final day of the January transfer window. But again, in terms of the options that were available, and there weren't many, there weren't many good ones. Actually, that's probably not the right terminology to use, because there are people available in January, but sometimes they're not always the right people. And Ten Hag has said that. Ten Hag has said that several times as well, hasn't he? He said, it's not about getting people in, it's about getting the right people in. Now, is Marcel Sabitzer the right person? We'll have to wait and see. In the same way that not a lot of people thought Wout Weghorst was the right person. I mean, and to be honest, if you'd have said to someone at the beginning of this transfer window, United will do 3 deals in January. That's 3 more than I thought we'd do, by the way. But we do 3 deals in January. They're all loans. Jack Butland, Wout Weghorst, and Marcel Sabitzer. I'd been like, what kind of multiverse settings are we living in? So yeah, like I said, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. Let's see what you guys are saying too. Ian Blair says, reckless feeling. If we get oil money, we're getting Mbappe. Come on. Come on. DJ saying he's a slight upgrade on Eriksen. Let's not go too far. You've been drinking too much kerosene, man. I mean, come on. Starlord says, I'm content. And that's what we strive for, I think, in life. Contentness. It's very difficult to come by contentness. And Starlord's achieved it. That's why he's a guardian of the entire galaxy. And he's also a mod at United View. He's a busy man, old Peter Quill. What else? Witterbird says Sabitzer could be the Cancelo bargain that Bayern, or was it a bit left off? I'm not sure. I think it's a real shrewd bit of business. Aleph Fives with an actual 5 says he is an upgrade on Eriksen, more physical. People are really rating this signing. People are saying it's an upgrade. That's interesting. AC United says Sabitzer alongside Casemiro. Another clip says 100% an upgrade on Eriksen. Well, this is getting very interesting, guys. I'm enjoying the discourse here. Hey, let me put a poll in the chat then. Okay. Put a poll in. Is Sabitzer an upgrade on Eriksen? ? Or, because I don't want to be accused of being one of those United fans that gets carried away or anything like that. Any player we've signed the greatest player ever. But it's quite interesting that, the difference in reaction to signing Wout Weghorst and then signing Marcel Sabitzer. We signed Weghorst and there was people like, but Sabitzer, people are happy with. Ray Diaz says, answer, I don't know until he plays. Good answer, Ray. I like that answer too, because I don't know. I don't know. I can't sit here, and this is the thing with being involved in fan media, fan content, and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? Is that I've seen Sabitzer play a couple of times. Back in the Leipzig day. I mean, he played at Old Trafford. There's a clip of him, isn't there, of him coming off. I forget which game it was. But Leipzig played us at Old Trafford. It's when Nagelsmann was there. And he's looking around and he's saying, like, when I was a kid, I loved this place. I loved watching Man United play. And we see that and it goes around on social media. And we're like, oh, it's great. Yeah. I'm really happy. He loves the place. He loves the club. Bully settings. But until he plays, we don't know. And the thing is, too, is that, even if he wasn't playing that well at Bayern Munich, even if every time he played in a Bayern Munich shirt, he dropped a stinker. Under Erik Ten Hag, anything's possible. He can be average, and Erik Ten Hag can turn him into something way better than he already is, because we've seen it. That's one thing I can say. Erik ten Hag has proven with multiple players this season, he can get the best out of them. And I remember it's one of the first things that the guys from We Talk Ajax said to us, didn't they? They said he will get things out of players that you have completely written off, that you think are done. You think they're terrible. They shouldn't even be playing football, let alone at Manchester United. And here we are this season. KG asked a question about Aaron Wan-Bissaka in the press conference, and deservedly so, because Wan-Bissaka's been playing well. Who saw that coming? So Sabitzer can come in on loan, and people in the media can say, oh, it's panicking and this, that, and the other. Of course it's panicking, because Christian Eriksen's injured. It's not to say it's bad. It's not to say it's bad business. He could do well. And also as well, we know how stringent Erik ten Hag is being when it comes to wages. As well at Manchester United, I hardly think we would have broken the bank to bring him in, and we've absolutely shattered the wage structure for him, because Erik ten Hag would scoff it and go, no thank you. I don't want that at all. So I would hope financially, again, it's good business for Manchester United. And again, as I sit here, I didn't even have to look at the top right-hand corner to see what the time is, because it's on the screen. At 7:22 p.m. GMT, I'm very happy. I say very happy, as much as you can be, consider the situation. Of course, in an ideal world, we'd have got in Sabitzer before Eriksen got injured, and we'd have gone into this January transfer market with the mindset of, we need to get a midfielder just in case, and then the bad scenario happened. Because make no mistake, if Christian Eriksen hadn't got injured against Reading, Sabitzer would not be a Manchester United player. That would not be happening. But look, the situation happened, and we've got the player. Eriksen, he's out to the end of April, beginning of May. That's basically the season, unfortunately. He might make the last couple of games, depending on when he comes back, I suppose. He could be involved in some later games. And look, depending on where we are in the season, they could be really important games. Couldn't they? Of course they could. FA Cup finals, that's right at the end of the season. Europa League final, that's right at the end of the season. The last few games to top four, hopefully wouldn't come down to that point. He would have qualified much earlier than that. But he could still be involved in some big games. And if that's the situation, having Sabitzer in that midfield with Eriksen or Casemiro, or having one of them on the bench, that's a massive bonus. And again, who knows what he will do and achieve at Manchester United. And If it is positive, yes, we don't have the option to buy all that kind of stuff already baked into the deal. But with new owners, anything's possible, right? Anything's possible. And I think it's that optimism that we should have today. Earlier on, it was very doom and gloom. I felt it too. I thought, you know what? Shit. That's what I thought. I mean, it's a bit later on in the day, so I feel like I was, oh, shit. Eriksen's gone down. Here we go again. Not in that way. I was thinking, got Carabao Cup coming up. Eriksen's not going to play in that game. What happens if someone gets injured before then? And we're this close, aren't we? We're this close to possibly winning something and achieving something this season. It feels like, and this is going to be a massive jinx, but it feels like, when you just feel like stuff's going your way in terms of competitions or in terms of results or in terms of cup draws, and you just feel like, I feel like things are working out for us. And when, sometimes, reality works in mysterious ways. When it is working for you, when it's pulling it for you, and it's not working against you, and you're getting bad draws and all that kind of stuff, you've got to take advantage of it, haven't you? You've just got to. And that's what the feeling earlier today, when that Eriksen statement was coming out, was, oh man, this timing sucks. Like, Eriksen's injured. We don't have any money. We're not going to get anyone. And yet it just happens to come in the season where a lot of our rivals aren't doing well. And we can win things and we can achieve things. And we are way ahead of schedule in terms of what Erik ten Hag wants to achieve and what he wants to do. The work that he's been able to do in 6 months' time is so impressive. And it just feels like if we had a lot of money to invest, or we had owners that were willing to invest right now, we'd take advantage, and who knows what we were capable of. And it just felt like, bam, things are going our way, but they're also not, because it's not the right time. And to come out of today with a signing, again, hasn't been officially announced yet. We've just got the Romano, here we go. But for it to come out now, you do feel more positive. You feel more positive about it. And I've seen some of you guys in the chat, and we'll get to your super chats in just a second. Maybe Sabitzer's more of the Ten Hag-esque player in terms of he's got more legs than Christian Eriksen. That's one thing certainly we've been saying a lot about Eriksen recently, and I think a lot of it's due to fatigue and tiredness, in fairness, but Christian Eriksen, after about 60 minutes, he was done in a lot of games. You could tell the guy was just exhausted, he was tired, and he's one of those players that when he gets tired, man, his quality level drops. Like, he'd start putting sloppy passes, and you can just tell he was exhausted. So, to have someone that maybe has a better, I don't want to say engine, because I don't think that's fair, because Christian Eriksen, again, earlier on in the season, had a fantastic engine. He was playing, I think he's played more minutes, and maybe this explains why he was so fatigued in recent weeks, is because I think he's played more minutes than any other player at United. That might be wrong. I think he's been picked the most out of any Ten Hag player this season, and that's probably why he started to fatigue even more. And the injury, that's because Andy Carroll is a knobhead with the tackle that he did. The fact that he didn't get booked for it was a disgrace. So I think it was just fatigue with Christian Eriksen before that, because again, it's not that his engine's bad, he just played so many minutes. So many minutes. And and this is the point of, if we had a Sabitzer prior to Eriksen getting injured, just being able to rotate him and have someone that was that engine, also had a great engine, would have been great. But we were forced. We were forced in that direction, but hey, happy to get the deal done. M. Sati with the super chat says, they are different. Sabitzer is better versus Newcastle, for example, due to his physicality. However, Eriksen passes and field reading are elite. And it's a good point you make there, M. Sati, because it is something that Erik ten Hag was quick to point out in his press conference earlier today, wasn't it? Where he was asked about people that were going to fill in for Christian Eriksen. And he said, well, in reality, no one's going to play the role the exact same way that Christian Eriksen will, because no one's like Christian Eriksen. What Christian Eriksen offers United, nobody else does. And you'd be really hard-pressed to find a lot of people in the world, particularly people that are available, but just in general, people in the world that offer United the things that Christian Eriksen do. To your point, and to Ten Hag's point, he said, his final ball, his ability to read the game, that final pass. Any player that we get isn't most likely going to have that level of final pass, or that level of being able to read the game, or just have that little bit of dynamic. Some of the passes Christian Eriksen has done this season, we say the pass before the pass, don't we? He's been able to do that a few times. And is Sabitzer going to do that? Probably not. And when Fred comes in, he's probably not going to do that either. It's just, as Ten Hag said earlier on today, he's going to have to fill it in his own way. And that might be being more physical. That might be more getting around the pitch a bit better. That might be facilitating his midfield partner like Casemiro more. That might be what he has to do. And to your point, in some of these games later on this season, and we do have quite a lot of key away games, don't we? We still have to go to Anfield, we still have to go to St. James's Park. We've still got some big games away from home that you're not going to have as much as the ball. It's going to be a physical battle, and maybe you're right. Maybe that's a time where Sabitzer in a midfield with Casemiro, maybe even and Fred as well. If Fred's going to be doing a man marking role, that's maybe where he is going to be more useful. So I think he offers different qualities. I think you're right. It's not a complete direct comparison. It's somewhat apples to oranges, but he's going to be playing in the same position as Christian Eriksen. Ray Diaz with the super chat says, Eriksen passing is important to Bruno. Injury hurts. I think that's a good point too. It's not fine. Like the fact that Sabitzer's come in, it's not like, wow, Eriksen, Christian who? Forget him. Forget him. It doesn't matter. It still really does matter. We're still going to really miss Christian Eriksen. I'd still much rather have him, So that still is a massive blow. It still is a real big injury, and the length of it is really concerning. The fact that it is basically 3 months, late April, early May, that hurts. Particularly, he's going to miss a final, near enough. I mean, again, we're not there guaranteed tomorrow, but he's going to miss a final, and that's shit. That's really unfortunate for him and for us, considering how well he's played for Manchester United this season. But if we'd have done nothing and just sat around doing nothing, I'd be really concerned, and I think absolutely you'd have been able to criticise United, and you can criticise the Glazers to your heart's content. One, they don't care, but two, go for it. No problem with me. I'll help you. But I do think that, and again, it's a low bar, I understand that, but your John Murtos and your Richard Arnolds, they haven't sat around with their hands, sat on their hands, or with their fingers where the sun don't shine, not doing anything today. They've got a deal done. And as deals go, it's not bad. Again, are we complete experts on the player? No. But at the same time, I think that I like the idea. Well, you can let me know in the chat. Which midfield do you prefer for the next however many games? Or for the next 3 months, possibly, right? Casemiro or Fred? Or Casemiro and Sabitzer? And to be honest, it's quite an interesting one. Maybe I'll do another poll in the chat. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, by the way, guys. We've got nearly 1,600 people watching. How many likes do we have here, Owen? 350. We can get to 500. Of course we can. Of course we can. It's less than 150 to go. Of course we can get to. I'm not sure. Of course we can get to 500 likes. What did the initial poll say? So nearly 900 votes in that poll, and the question was is Sabitzer an upgrade on Eriksen? And interestingly, very interestingly, 63% say yes. Wow. Wow, I'm surprised by that. I'd have voted no. I'd have voted no because I don't have that much of a point of reference when it comes to Sabitzer, to be honest. My sample size is much bigger for Christian Eriksen than Marcel Sabitzer. Now, I don't know if we can put that down to, excitement. But maybe, look, if you're really familiar with the player and you're saying, yes, that fills me with excitement even more, then I go, hey, that's an impressive signing by Manchester United. Let me end that poll, and I'm going to ask my next one as well, which is, now my concern is, am I going to fit enough characters in? Which midfield partnership is better? Casa-Fred, or does this really work? Casa-Sabitz. Casa-Sabitz. I like that one. Casa-Fred or Casa-Sabitz. Which midfield partnership is better? Whilst you're voting, we'll get some more comments up on the screen as well. Nessie says, look at this. Nessie's coming out swinging, saying 62% of you are crackheads. Wow. Some people saying Casa-Bitzer. A lot of people liking Casa-Bitzer. Casa-Sabitz. Yeah. AJ says we still have the juice to transfer players. Well, there was an interesting one about an Anthony Elanga earlier, because there was speculation linking him, get this, with a move to Barcelona. And it was one of those ones where Barcelona came and everyone went, are we missing something? Like, is he actually really, really good? Should we keep him? It didn't happen, didn't go through, by all accounts. Whether or not Anthony Elanga will leave during this window still remains to be seen, to be honest with you. I mean, how many hours we got left? So it closes at 11. It's near, 7:30 now, so half an hour. 2 and a bit hours? Is that right? 3 and a bit hours. Nothing yet. So I don't know about that one. I mean, Romano said the other day that he had, 10 offers, plus maybe more. So anything still could happen with these loan moves. I mean, Sabitzer is a great example of this. With these loan moves, they don't take as long as your permanent transfers. And by all accounts, I don't know how much of actual, a medical he did, Sabitzer, with United, but I think he's doing some. I think it was Ornstein. Let me make sure I find this. It was Ornstein that essentially said he's doing some medical tests. This evening. However, they got a lot of information from Bayern Munich that they were happy with. And I guess that's like medical information that they got from him. This is what Ornstein said. This was a few hours ago, meanwhile, because, of course, we've got the Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano since then. But David Ornstein said, Man United close agreement to sign Marcel Sabitzer from Bayern Munich. 28-year-old midfielder set to fly in with the aim of completing moves. Straight loan, maybe some medical tests, but enough information from Bayern Munich. Board approval sought and granted. Basically saying that, he's not going to do a full medical. He's going to be doing, I guess, a partial one, or just maybe whatever they need. But they're happy with the information that they got from Bayern Munich. If you are just joining us, because we've got nearly 1,700 people watching, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right hand corner. But if you are just joining us, Fabrizio Romano tweeted, I'll give you an exact time because timing's important. Just under an hour ago, about 50 minutes ago or so, Marcel Sabitzer to Manchester United. Here we go. Full agreement reached on a loan deal. No buy option confirmed. Deal set to be signed with Bayern in the final hours as personal terms agreed to. And then he's sponsored by Turkish Airlines at the moment as well. So he keeps saying everyone's flying with Turkish Airlines, which kind of keeps throwing me off because he's not. I mean, I don't know, but it's a smart marketing thing, actually, to be fair. Smart advertising. But I don't think every flight of every player that's going in this transfer window is flying with Turkish Airlines. But hey, it works for Fabrizio. He loves the club. He loves the aviation. He loves Turkish Airlines. What's the poll saying so far? It's only been up a few minutes and already we've had nearly 400 votes. And as one would expect, which midfield partnership is better, Casafred or Sabitzer? Sabitzer is getting the majority of the vote there. Super chat from Coco Black says he's not our first choice, but I can understand why we got him. He's great at taking free kicks and has a wicked long range shot. I did see some people saying there that Marcel Sabitzer is known for having a bit of a long-range shot, and that could be something. That could be something. I mean, I don't think it's the primary focus. I don't think it's let's sign him because he can absolutely smash the ball in the back of the net. Diva said Enzo said no. No way. Is that true? Are you going to be having me on there? There's no way. Did he say no? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. I'll take a look at that because that would be a madness. That can't happen. I did also see that PSG were on the verge of signing Hakim Ziyech. I don't know if that's a permanent deal or a loan deal. I'd have been open. I'd have been open to signing Hakim Ziyech. I mean, we were linked to him in the summer, weren't we? Of course, he played for Erik ten Hag at Ajax. I think that was primarily why, and that was at the time which we weren't sure about which person we were going to get for a right wing option before we got Anthony. When we thought Anthony was going to be too expensive, we thought Hakim Ziyech could be a cut price option. But PSG signing him, I wouldn't have been against it. I wouldn't. Again, take a step back, compose myself, Owen, calm down, because I'm doing the thing that I said was annoying me, which is we ain't getting anyone on a permanent transfer. we're just getting loans. And that's it. You know, we're just getting loans. And again, considering the circumstances, and you have to keep considering this. Considering the circumstances presented to us and presented to Erik ten Hag in particular, you told at the beginning of the window, look, you can't get anyone unless it's loan deals. You've got like 5 million to play around. You've got nothing, basically. And he went, right, 5 million. And I don't know if he got his phone out or like an abacus. He was like, he was doing long division. He's carrying the 2. I can get 3 loans out of that. I can get a goalkeeper. Send Dubravka back. He's rubbish. Send him back. Get Jack Butland in. You're going to play Jack Butland? It don't matter. Okay, we'll get Jack Butland in. We need a striker. We let go. Ronaldo's gone. We need a striker. Who are you thinking? I'm thinking Wout Weghorst. Sorry? Wout Weghorst. You're a madman, Eric. Bring him in. Comes in, plays well. Eric, you're a genius. Eriksen goes down. Well, at the time they go, well, that's gonna be the business, definitely. We've really, we stretched that budget as much as we can, that tiny budget. We got 2 loan deals in. Come on. Okay. What about Marcel Sabitzer? Can we do it? And they've done it. Vacation Pappy, tremendous name, has been a member for 7 months. Appreciate 7 months of support. Says Sabitzer reminds me of an FDJ type of signing Erik ten Hag wanted. He can play multiple positions, great at carrying the ball, and has a great defensive IQ. And to be honest, it might be that defensive capabilities, or that again, that sort of that extra level of tenacity that maybe Eriksen doesn't have, which is really going to set him apart at Manchester United. That might be a key thing as well, is that Ten Hag's really, because I mentioned earlier on, we got linked, or got offered rather, other players, but they have to be the right kind of player. They have to be the right profile of player, and clearly Ten Hag likes this profile of player. He likes his capabilities, and as I mentioned, whilst he may not have been starting games for Bayern Munich this season, he has still played games. He still has had appearances. He's a quality player. When he was at RB Leipzig, he was highly sought after, but as is the case with most players in Germany that aren't at Bayern Munich, if they're any good, they go to Bayern Munich, and that was the case of him. Hasn't really totally worked out, and we're going to see what happens at Manchester United. And to be honest, even if he comes to United and he plays well, does that mean he's going to go back to Bayern Munich and get straight back in their side? If I was him, I would say, well, realistically, what's changed for me? What's changed for me there? Unless they have some great turnover in their midfield and big key players leave, he might think to himself, I don't even think I'm going to force my way back in. This might be a situation for him where he's trying to put himself in the shop window, where he's trying to secure a move to Manchester United, right? I mean, look at Wout Weghorst. We've said this. I've said this recently. That, again, with Wout Weghorst, and unless I'm mistaken, I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think there's an option for Wout Weghorst either, unless I'm mistaken. I don't think there is. But him staying on after his loan deal, that's not been ruled out. That's not off the table. That's still a possibility. If things work out, we'll find a way. And who's to say it won't be a similar situation with Sabitzer, where if it works out, if he plays well, bear in mind, he's going to be playing big games too. We're involved in massive games that Christian Eriksen isn't going to be involved in because he's injured. Now, again, it's going to be interesting to see how often Sabitzer plays, if now Fred's just Casemiro's partner, or it's Sabitzer and Casemiro. And if it is Sabitzer and Casemiro, think of the games he's going to be coming into play. Possibly a final at Wembley, Carabao Cup. Depends on how far we go in the FA Cup. That Europa League tie against Barcelona, he'd be involved in that because I don't think he's cup tied because he's been playing in the Champions League, not the Europa League, so he's able to play. So he could be a part, and this is my long-winded point here, he could be a part of some really big moments for Manchester United this season. And if he's a part of those big moments, if he's instrumental in, say, if we win the Carabao Cup, presumptuous, I know, but if we win the Carabao Cup and he was involved in that team, you think at the end of the season they're going to be happy to see him go back to Bayern Munich? They're going to be like, no, what do we have to do? Keep him in. What do we have to do to keep him around? Maybe it changes plans. I mean, I think it was Samuel Lutkers saying that having Sabitzer in, or they were concerned about buying people, or they were concerned about bringing people in that could offset the Frankie de Jong discussion in the summer. But my response, that would be tough shit. Like, if someone can come in now and really positively contribute, then maybe we don't need to dip into the market in that position in the summer. I don't know. So anything's possible, certainly. Let's see what the chat's saying as well. Diva says, Owen, do United have to announce Sabitzer signing before 11 p.m? They don't have to announce it before then. It just has to be, all of the correct documentation has to be approved and completed by then. If not, they can get a special dispensation from the FA and the Premier League and stuff like that, because there have been deals that have been done way after the deadline time, but they wrote to the appropriate parties to say, hey, this deal is going to get done. It's going to get done soon, but it's not going to get done by the deadline. Can we have a bit of extra time? Most of the time they say yes. Sometimes they don't. But to be honest, the feeling is that this deal will get done in quite a bit of time. I mean, earlier, this is how fast it's moved, but earlier today, at midday, when this was happening, there was, how much time's left? There's 11 hours left at the time, and then I think it was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and they were like, it's 9 hours left. How much time is going to happen? And then within like 3 or 4 hours, it was like, this deal's going to get done very, very quickly. So I don't even think it will be really tight before the deadline. I think that it will be actually a bit before then. But to answer your question, they don't have to announce it before then, and they might not announce it before then. Or they might do a thing. Like United sometimes can do a thing, don't they, where they'll just, the announcement will be, we've signed Sabitzer on loan, and then the proper big all singing all dancing announcement might come tomorrow. I mean, one would think he's probably going to be at the ground tomorrow. He might even get introduced in front of the crowd at Old Trafford at halftime or before the game or something like that. So again, I'm not too concerned that this is going to be a rush against time or anything like that. Nestor says Ten Hag won't go for any panic buy. Trust me, I agree. I really agree. Again, that's why I'm confident with this. That's why I push back on those pundits. And by the way, just wait, because we've already seen one. Paul Merson's already done it. Just wait for. I mean, you can list them. Your Graham Souness's, your Danny Murphy's, Gabby Agbonlahor. Those ones that just. Jermaine Pennant, I've seen them recently. They're still slagging off Erik ten Hag. Still, at the same time, still blindly praising Liverpool or Chelsea, which I just find crazy because I'm like, you're not looking at the table then, clearly. Because you're not living in reality with that, but we'll still get it. Like, don't worry, we'll still get it. This will be crucified. It's a terrible signing. United are panicking. There's no strategy from United. Erik ten Hag's this, he's that. It's nuts. I mean, I saw someone put a tweet out the other day, and I thought, you know what, that is so spot on. That they went to Gary Neville as well and Jamie Carragher. When are you going to go round to, let's say, Graham Potter or Jurgen Klopp and do that 2-on-1 interview asking how things are going at the club or why aren't they going very well? Do you remember that? Do you remember how nuts that was earlier on this season before the Liverpool game? Before the Liverpool game, United lost their first 2 games, Brighton and obviously Brentford, terrible defeat. You had them both there, sitting down, asking these questions. What's going on at Manchester United? Is the job too big? What's going on with the dressing room? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? Where are those interviews now? Where are they? I'm not seeing those interviews. Is Jamie Carragher still yet to come out saying Lisandro Martinez isn't going to work as a Premier League centre-back? Bear in mind, after he said that, not only has he been one of the best defenders in the world, but he also then won the World Cup. But his height's still an issue, apparently. It's nuts. It's that, and I understand. Look, of course we're biased, and of course, as Man United fans, it does feel like us against the world kind of thing, and they are picking on us. But you do have to sort of go like, this is weird. Sometimes it really is. It's bizarre, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because. My theory on it is a lot of the pundits now are players that were playing, what year is it? 2022. So they were playing like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And unfortunately for them, throughout that entire period, Manchester United just used to win everything and win the league. So if they didn't play for United, they hated Man United because Manchester United used to beat them all the time. So now, when they see Man United not doing well, which we haven't for the last decade, they love it. They love it. This is 20. I got the year wrong. It's been a long day. But my point being is they love it, and they can't. Like a modicum of United playing, a modicum of United doing well or playing well or doing a good bit of business. It's like no, they're still rubbish. Oh, I don't know about that. They'll still fall apart. It's like my wow. Wow. Compliment's difficult. And maybe it's because, look, the phrase is, isn't it? If you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. They'd never have anything to say, and their job's to talk. Maybe that's it. I think you can say what you want, right? And look, pundits, the job is to have an opinion, and they have opinions, right? By the way, it doesn't make it any less right or wrong than you or I. Just because they played does not mean that their opinion's any more right or wrong than you or I. It just holds a bit more weight because they've got experience in the game. Okay, that's fine. But it's the reluctance or just the sheer refusal to admit when you're wrong as well. Go, tell you what, I got that really wrong. Really wrong. And they do it about a lot of players as well. I saw there's that clip, isn't there, Kevin De Bruyne as well. Of when he signed, and you had the Soccer Saturday panel, and they were like, oh, that amount of money, it's crazy. And then obviously he's gone on to be like a Premier League great. And whenever that clip's brought up, they go, well, that's not very fair. Well, it is. You said this. They go, it's not very fair. It's out of context. And at the time, it was crazy. Well, time evolves. Time changes. I know Marcel doesn't think time exists. That's not even a word. Exists. But, yeah, don't even get me started. Don't get me started on those, on some of those pundits. It's just nuts. It really is insane. We've got nearly. This is might be even a record for a solo stream for myself. But we've got nearly 1,900 people watching, guys. Which, by the way, thank you very, very much for tuning in. I know I've just been rambling for 50 minutes. But be sure to smash a like on the like button if you haven't already. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right hand corner. I believe we can get to 750. This could be crazy. We could do something spectacular here. We could get to 750 likes on a solo stream. Marcel Sabitzer, here we go. I mean, just click the like button if you're happy that Sabitzer's going to be coming in. That's that's tremendous. Santiago says, smash a like or face the feeling. He's lurking somewhere. I'm sure he's lurking somewhere around. You never know where he's going to be lurking. Our version of Mike Phelan, not the actual one. He's probably somewhere else. Doing who knows what. He's still under contract at Manchester United, though. He's, I think, as an ambassador or something like that. But he is still under contract at Manchester United. So there you go. And as Steffi Jenks said, absolutely. Go if you like the grappling, if you like the wrestling, you can go check out my channel, Owen Wrestling News 365. I think I'm like 50 subscribers away from 10K. Ish. It might even be less than that. It might be like 40 or something like that. So if you're a fan of that, I know not everyone is. I don't like to bring it up too much on here because, football and wrestling, there is quite a lot of crossover, but some people. So if you haven't already, check out that out as well. And also you can check out on the channel. I think we need to take a step back, and I want to see in the chat, I want to see a lot of KG emojis, because my friend and your friend, Mr. the Comedian, that's right, KG that Comedian, today absolutely killed it in the press conference, absolutely killed it. He asked questions about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he asked questions about Wout Weghorst. I mean, it just, that is, life's a funny thing, isn't it? I mean, talk about a dream, not only to be at Carrington, not only to ask the manager of Manchester United a question, but on top of that, he asked Erik ten Hag a question about his son, about the guy he's just readopted. He let him go for a while. He's not the best parent. He actually is, KG. He's a fantastic father. But he's readopted him, and he asked Erik ten Hag a question to him in his press conference. That's just that's progression. That's life. And I've seen all of the real positive comments on the full video. Obviously, I tried to show a clip in the press conference earlier today. If you watch the stream, if you know, didn't go great. Got there in the end. But if you want to see like an extended version of that, KG's Day at Carrington, that's all up on the channel. I think it's like 13 minutes or something like that. So yeah, go check it out. It's well worth a watch. I know you guys really like that kind of, behind the scenes content. And look, it's just fantastic. It's fantastic that we're able to get that kind of access. Any fan channel is able to get that access. I know that the guys from United Stand were in there as well. I think Stretford Paddock were in there. They usually are. Again, United do tend to open the doors a lot more to fan channels nowadays, which I think is just great. I think it's fantastic that anyone. Media evolves. It's not just traditional media anymore. It's fan media. It's non-traditional media. It's online media. And I just think it's fantastic that they're able to interact with that. And I always will credit anyone for getting their questions in, because it's difficult. The world is watching. Journalists are watching, and it takes a lot of balls. And it takes a lot of personality and charisma to ask questions in there, ask good questions, and to get on that journey, to get to that point where you're sitting in the press room at Carrington to do that. It's tough. And I shout out anyone that's able to do it. I think it's absolutely fantastic, tremendous. Mahat says, Owen, you're a clown for saying 1% this morning, 1% chance this morning. Wow, honk honk. I don't have the nose on. You can call me crusty. I prefer you didn't, because I don't think people will make the direct jump to Krusty the Clown. They'll just think something else, like I don't like shower or something like that, and that will come across as very mean. I'm in a happy mood this evening. But I was wrong. I'm no Paul Merson. I can hold my hands up and say, hey, I was wrong. This morning I said to DJ 1% chance, and that was me rounding up. I was saying 0. Oh, how wrong was I? But we did say this morning, didn't we, that anything is possible in the world of football. Anything is possible, and football can move very quickly. Transfers can move very quickly, and Manchester United, the only thing I will say is they've proven they can do deals quickly if they want. When push comes to shove, when the back's up against the wall, they can do deals quickly. But I'm more than happy to admit that I was wrong this morning. Yes, I said 0% chance, and here we are with a here we go for Fabrizio Romano. We're waiting on the club to make the announcement before the deadline, even though the deal was practically done anyway. Tremendous. Game Fanatic, I missed your super chat. Apologies. I'm in just such a jovial mood. Here we go. I've got Romano. I don't know. Game Fanatic says, Owen, thoughts on possible surprise hour load? I have seen this. And we have, by the way, we're less than 50 likes away from, less than 30, well, just over 30 likes away from 750, which is amazing, by the way. The hour one, I want to see this here because there was a period of time, I'm getting way too comfortable on the stream. There was a period of time that we were just getting linked with midfielders every 5 seconds. And it said, this was from Santi Ouna, who was first on the Wout Weghorst. Story to Manchester United, saying that Manchester United have inquired about Houssem Aouar in recent hours. United were willing to pay his full salary as well as a loan fee, but before midnight, anything is possible. It continues saying United are ready to take the entire salary of Houssem Aouar and pay a loan fee. That's what we've heard since then. I don't know. That was about, an hour ago? I think that was put out there, about 6 o'clock. Well, nearly 2 hours ago now then. That was put out there, and we haven't heard anything since. So I doubt it. I mean, Dharma Chef did say that it was unlikely that United were going to do any other business this evening. Just in terms of some last-minute details and some last-minute information before we wrap things up. So it's been reported by Sport Witness that Marcel Sabitzer's jet has just flown over London, is heading to Manchester. I love this stuff. I love when we start checking out jets and flight times. I mean, Romano's sponsored by Turkish Airlines. Can we get like a UV Airwaves or something like that? UV Air, with KG as the pilot. If someone can Photoshop that. So that was half an hour ago, saying he's just flown over London and is heading to Manchester. Then I just saw it said in the last couple of minutes, it said that he's landed. There you go. Sabitzer has landed in Manchester. Again, I don't know who that is. Who's saying that, but that's breaking news in the last 4 minutes that Sabitzer has landed in Manchester. According to Fabrizio Romano, Man United are preparing Marcel Sabitzer's documents right now. David Ornstein has just said something else too, saying Manchester United are in the process of sourcing Marcel Sabitzer's work permit and finalising the paperwork as they attempt to complete the straight loan deal before the deadline. So we're on work permit and paperwork stages. And there's even a video, I think it comes from the Muppeteers, shout out them. So actually, it is legitimately a video of Sabitzer's plane landing in Manchester. That is dedication to the cause. There is just a plane going, that's his plane, that's the one landing in. Tremendous. I love when people get excited about this kind of stuff. How could you not? Shunak says, hi Owen, love the view and love the fact we've got Sabitzer, pressing monster, good on the ball, good defensive awareness too. Eric Ten Hag be cooking. As we said earlier on, just for all throughout this stream in general, right? Eric Ten Hag doesn't do panic buys, I don't think. He doesn't panic. Has to be the right player. It's not just about getting players, it's about getting the right players. And that indeed, hopefully, is what we've done. Now, again, we'll have to wait now for Manchester United's official announcement. I'm sure that will be coming, it's got to be coming within 3 hours. One would think it might come after 11. As long as he's registered in time, as long as the deal, all the paperwork's been done in time, one would think that that's going to be the situation there. But look at that. An hour, just like that, absolutely flown by. That's the relationship you and I have. That's the relationship that we have, the UV community here. Absolutely tremendous stuff. I think I missed a super chat. Let me make sure I get them all in. Here we go. Jaden says, not to Sabi. Oh, come on. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. Not too Sabi. Ooh. What a signing. I think he is an upgrade on Ericsson and he will kill it with Casemiro. Big up KG and UV. Absolutely killing it. Big up yourself, Jaden. Appreciate the contribution. Appreciate the super chat as well. And Red Baron says, Mr. 0%, DJ is more reasonable. Well, DJ's been drinking a lot of kerosene recently. I don't know if you've seen him. He's walking around with that. It's actually, this is Mina's joke, so I don't want to steal it. I always give credit. She said, jerry can, because that's what DJ's drinking from. at the moment. I mean, that emoji's got to come soon, hasn't it? And if you're a member of the Members Club, you'll be able to use it when indeed it is done. So there you go. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. As I wrap things up, we are 220 likes away from 1,000. If we could get to 1,000, you know, even after I'm going to finish like now. But if we can get to 1,000, even as we're finishing, records. Records are there to be broken. We can be record breakers this evening, folks. Absolutely. Shunak says, also, we need a KG reckless reaction to Sabitzer. I don't know what KG is. I mean, he was on his way back from Carrington. I don't know if he's back yet. I would assume he would be. KG's a very difficult guy to pin down. You know. But as I mentioned, guys, the full video of KG's day at Carrington asking the question in the press conference, that's up on the channel, as well as the transfer view this morning, which now looks very, very different, doesn't it? I think there's going to be a reaction from other people on the channel. You have to wait and see this evening. Tomorrow's match day as well. There is a match as well tomorrow. There's a little thing called the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg at Old Trafford. So we've got full match day coverage. We've got obviously the match views. We've got fan views, which I've just remembered. Wait till you wait till you see what we've got planned tomorrow at Old Trafford, because of course all I will say is KG's on holiday. KG Flex, is on holiday. So someone's got to do the microphone in, the interviewing outside Old Trafford. I wonder who it could be. No. That'd be way too reckless. Have to wait and see. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good evening, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.